So what does typology or personality type have to do with human agility and with helping us develop this much needed capacity to be agile? Well, first let's talk a little bit about what is personality type. There are many views about personality type and lots of different typologies, and people are making new ones every day. Some of these have been tested for a long time, over long periods of time, and go back to the 1920s. So the notion of extroversion and introversion is one of those, and that's pretty easy to understand. It's much more rich and complex than just the simple ways we think of it. But there are other typologies that tell us important things about our personality. They tell us about a core psychological need we have, or a core driver of our energy patterns, or how we think about things, what kind of information we might tend to pay attention to and ignore, and what kinds of decision making and how we tend to organize our thoughts around that information, or ignore, or refute and refuse to listen to. So the typologies can tell us a whole lot about our tendencies, our natural tendencies, and to some degree our acquired tendencies. But we know from the evidence that there are patterns that are there from the beginning. So these patterns that are there from the beginning can tell us what really is central to us, what is at our core. Once we know what is at our core, then we can start to say, oh, that's my perspective. That's my perspective. That's who I am. That's how I view the world. And then we can also start to see that's your perspective. That's how you view the world. And we can say, that's how this situation is. This is what this situation needs. We were trying to take a certain approach and the situation needs something else, so we have some blind spots. So it can tell us about individual blind spots, relationship blind spots, family blind spots, team blind spots, organizational blind spots, and some blind spots we have in the world. So this notion of perspectives is made clearer when we have a way of categorizing and organizing the information. And there are many, many ways of categorizing and organizing the perspectives, but the typologies are one that really relate to how we have meaning, how we make meaning of things. And push comes to shove, and under stress, we're going to go there first. So it really helps us know what our perspectives are, own it's our perspective, it's my perspective, and I can then make space for you to have your perspective. So the perspective taking, perspective shifting, and perspective seeking that is so essential to human agility is then helped by having an understanding of personality type. Now there's some very important things we have to consider as we're looking at personality type. First of all, it is not a determination of what you will do. You're still a free agent. Under stress, well, you may say it has me and I don't have it. But for the most part, you're not stuck rigidly in this box. It's not about putting someone in a box because you've identified their personality type patterns. These are patterns, and they are processes that we use when we are enacting those patterns and fulfilling the drives of those patterns or the needs. But those are predictable only in as much as that's what we're actually doing. So it doesn't predict behavior. It may predict some likely behavior, but we're not stuck there. It's best used when we take an approach with personality type that helps us develop our agility as opposed to making us more rigid. So in those cases, it's the approach that's more important than the model itself. Now, of course, I really like my models, and so I'm going to share those with you in our next sequence. But that's what I want you to take away from this, is that it is about having the agility to shift our perspectives. Another important aspect of developing human agility is this aspect of self-management and self-organization. Now, self-management is often thought of as oh, how am I going to manage myself to deliver this product or to respond emotionally in the way I should? How do I manage my own outbursts or my own way of thinking that might be a little bit rigid? And that's part of it. But we're going to be self-managing as we interact with others and take some self-leadership. And we can know that better when we know our own perspectives. We also, in order to self-manage, we have to recognize that we are self-organizing systems. We are organized from the beginning. And the personality patterns can tell us some of the ways that we're organized. They're not just traits that we've picked up along the way. Now that's, habits and traits, that's an important piece of who we are and things that we have to actually manage sometimes. But this self-organizing, you're already organized. You're already organized in such a way that you will maintain your behavior. So we are self-organizing and self-maintaining. And it helps to know what that natural pattern is, because when you push against that pattern, you're going to get resistance. You're going to get pushback. It's going to take more energy for you to shift outside your pattern for a while until it becomes more habitual and more developed. So it's easier to work with Mother Nature than it is to work against it. Self-management is about the inner drives that we have that push us and the talents that we have that make us feel good when we use them, as it is about the context and what the situation requires and pushing on us, or requiring so that we feel well used, as some people say, so that our talents are engaged. And in some ways, this is one of the keys to engagement in the workforce, is to have us fully engaged in our talents. So there is a natural pattern of organization that we want to work with. And as we explore in our next conversation about what are these natural patterns and how can we identify them and how can we use them to develop more human agility and still stay true to who we are at our core. Thank you for joining me.